Ahoy! To the port side, to the left. Abort, abort. About 500 men died when the ship sank. There was no list of crew names, just a list of numbers, and only the names of the Vice Admiral, Sir George Carew, and the Master, Roger Grenville, are known. That's from bbc.co.uk news. Did anyone survive the sinking of the Mary Rose? The water flooded in, and the ship went down in a matter of minutes. Of the nearly 500 men on board, no more than 35 survived. Despite the tragedy of losing the Mary Rose, she was the only loss of the battle. And that's from mayrose.org. How many bodies were found on the Mary Rose? The bones of a total of 179 individuals were found during the excavations of the Mary Rose, including 92 fairly complete skeletons. From the mayrose.org. How long was the Mary Rose underwater? The Mary Rose is a carrack-type warship of the English Tudor Navy of King Henry VIII. She served for 33 years in several wars against France, Scotland, and Brittany. Home port, Portsmouth, England. Fate, sank in battle in 1545, raised in 1982. Status, museum ship. What happened to the Mary Rose on the 19th of July, 1545? During the Battle of the Solent on July the 19th, 1545, the Mary Rose sank in a strait of the English Channel. According to an eyewitness account, after firing at the French fleet, the Mary Rose was attempting to turn when it was blown onto its side by a gust of wind. And that's from tankbritannica.com. Surrendering to the choppy waters of consciousness. A moment of thought and remembrance to go out to all frequencies related to this. The ship, the people that worked on the ship, the people that died, the family members, anything related to do with this. Namaste, Sanoni Snowflake, surrendering to her heart and surrendering to the will of Mother Gaia, as usual, which we are quite happy to do with our vanilla chai, tea bag, our powdered goat's milk, and our white birch sugar, because we got no honey and it's not very nice with the sycamore tree syrup. And it's xylitol, white birch, but it's xylitol, which is from the birch tree. We don't know if it's white, it's just white sugar looking like, but natural sugar, not refined, we think. Well, it's an equivalent, But anyway, that drove us to put on this. So we're wearing white birch essential oil. Smells nice. It was very, very clinical to start with. Wonder if they used it in the hospitals in the old days. Wouldn't surprise us with what's going on. Been wait for a long time again in summer house. Around 3, I think we looked at it at 3:37. And we went and just put on our sound healing playlist from that very first online sound healing meditation when we started opening the meditation of the reversed mirror 1-1 portal 1001-2020. It was 6 weeks long, but it took us too deep and we got put in a psych ward because we weren't going to hospital or nothing, because they would have done us more harm. And although it was a pretty terrifying experience and our worst nightmare, one of them, coming round co-consciously, the aware eyes and the head, but still locked inside, not able to have control of the body or talk, to 8 people restraining you, and you're not eating or drunk properly for goodness knows how long, but you've managed to lose at least 3 stone in however amount of time. That's amazing, of the subconscious mind, the primitive mind, the fight, flight, freeze. When you feel under threat and you get put into survival mechanism, and we're the best survivor going, like we keep saying. You see, our earth grid, be it earth grid of places we've trodden with our feet in physical reality, or earth grid of people that we've met in different places of the world, from different places of the world, that would be an amazing one to put together. We covered some good footage we have. And then we read, it's in bottom bill on top of info, and we read that, and we're doing that, which is what lots of people are doing. We're bridging the Eastern and the Western minds and the Eastern and the Western bodies. But you see, most people tend to do it from their unique way with their unique bit of information until they all come together. Or like in partners, they find a beautiful partner and just join in like that. That's what we look forward to. But you see, we're doing it very differently, because I think a lot of it goes externally too, and some of it internally, but we're like internally and deep, because we're young, because the more we go into our body, the younger we get. But we're getting better now because we learned and taught ourselves to talk and all kinds of things. But you see, we don't like this language neither. We'll find different language, but we're very fussy, we know. But only because the body tells us and the body speaks to us, and our body's Mother Earth, it's nature, it's Gaia. And so we're speaking as someone told us, because we get our information and our language from other people, and we take what resonates. And someone told us that it sounds like we're speaking from the Earth's womb, Mother Gaia's core, the Earth's core. It's all to do with this reversing, you see, this swapping off the North and the South poles, causing a lot of dissonance and chaos. You've got to have the people out there that can bring that chaos and bring into the harmony in the moment and the calm within the chaos. And we're one of those people that are doing that, you see. Surrendering to our heart. You see, our heart's very special, because our heart, and this is why trauma is special, because it's part of evolution, but more importantly, part of involution of human consciousness, because it's not about being human to suffer, it's about being human to transcend suffering. And that's what we're doing. And then we'll share, but we won't share certain packages or say it's this way or that way, we'll share some fundamental principles with lots of variations so that people can choose their theme and their title of the fundamental principles and then find their subtitles and their content, which makes them truly authentic too, you see. And our heart is stunted along with our brain at a pure innocent state of like a 4-year-old. Paramount and play ego, you see. It's not about the dark night of the soul. It's not about the dark night or even of the ego. It's about the fun shadow dance of life and finding the tools to make it fun. We were doing that in the morning, this morning, because we got very bad at one point. And that's why we're in from one perspective. Not from a lot of perspectives, but from one perspective, that's why we're lucky with all that we've been through and are deaf, blind and dumb muddle inside, because we don't have all those narratives going round. We go to the fundamentals, and the fundamentals, all those hexagonal pictures and stuff, think it's related to fractal geometry and things, but like the little pictures, just the very, very basics. You see, it's with gratitude to Mother Gaia and her plant medicine, ayahuasca, because we wouldn't have got no further without that, I tell you. And plus, we're one of these people that we did a lot of the hard work first. You know, all the counselling, all the self-development, all the self-awareness. Properly start when we were 18, when we overdosed. Very lucky to be here, apparently. 25 aspirin and 25 paracetamol. In hospital for 3 days, and even then they tell us off for eating something because our bile was blue, and we didn't eat nothing. We always get told off when we ain't done nothing wrong. But that's okay, because we're learning to know better now. We're learning to see what all this stuff means and what it's teaching us. And it's to be true to this and here. Because the morning after the ayahuasca journey, we said, because we didn't have the optimum resonant language, we would initially said right language there, or the good language, but it's not about right or good, because that's stuck in the perception and the concept of duality world thinking. And that's the world that we need to transcend, because that's what they call the 3D dimension, transcending into the 5D dimension. But it's too big a jump for people. What happened to the 4D dimension, everyone? So we're one of those people, because we've always known that we're a connector of sorts, with those are phrases that we've used already before all these scenarios. But like the people, the meditating, sound healing people, they're like channelers, aren't they? Channelers of the energy. And then you've got like Lee Harris Energy. We got thingy with him tonight. That'd be good. And he's a channeler. And our Elizabeth Harper from the 44-day meditation thing, she's a channeler. So we're kind of some kind of channeler, a conduit for the energies. And we already did the upper energies. But we weren't grounded in proper, because we couldn't be grounded in proper, and we needed to have the experiences we had. And now we're grounding ourselves in proper, we are. So now we've been a conduit for Mother Gaia. I think that's what the story is so far. It's all done in cryptic clues. It's so hard. But we've been detoxing lots of the mind, you see, and that's why it's all been hard work this morning. And we're not allowed to, sternum crack. Shh. Can we do more of this later? I don't want to do none of this on here right now. Thank you, buddy. We'll do it in a minute. Because we started, we got put in the psych ward, you see. And so the last 2 weeks, the 7th and the 14th, were in the psych ward. And the 14th is World Sound Healing Day. Oh, I think we had a long video for that one that we were live on, and we put it on the Sound Healing page. So we'll have to listen to that, watch that one back, won't we? But we'll do that on Sound Healing Day, I think, or the day before. Because I think there's something else brewing for Sound Healing Day. Goodness knows what. But we don't like to think about things too far ahead like that, because it's not what we're meant to do, and it causes too much stress in the mind and the body. So we stay present. Not with the typical presents and gifts that you're used to getting. We were never good at getting gifts. We always used to open them up and then wrap them back up again very neatly. I think there's only one gift that we've ever been surprised about that I remember. That's our didgeridoo. And that's from Sacred Turf. That's why these fell down. It's amazing, or these CDs fell down. We got all these CDs, but we can't listen to them because our CD player don't work. And this fell down. Ancient spirits for a new age. Sacred spirit, sacred spirit of the blues, divine spirits, world spirits, ancient spirits. So what we do is we always Google it, try to put music on, and we were going to listen to it in bath, but we just did drumming in the bath instead. Oh my God, it was effing horrible, the bath yesterday. Oh, so much pain. We seemed to be some quite good spirits before it, and then but that's okay, because that's what needs to happen, isn't it? Detox is all the thoughts from the mind and all the pain in the body, and we got to feel the pain and feel through it. And we've been good. We don't know when we last had a vape of weed, or even in the milk. I know the milk was the closest one. We might have even said it on the video, so I'm sure it become clear. But yeah, it didn't have it on there. But yeah, that's why that's come into play, to trigger the neurons in the brain of the memories, and in the body of the emotions that are attached to those neurons in the brain, that are trapped in the matrix of the body, the connective tissue, the fascia. And that's the gift of the EDS, you see. The POTS, the pressure, the fibromyalgia is the building the new highways. And we were very good with our food yesterday. And I suppose that's why we got on it and managed just to chop a load of vegetables and put them in the slow cooker and put them on again. So we did like swede and parsnip and a few carrots, which are orange, a yellowy white or a whitey yellow, and then white kinda. No, because the swede looks white, but I think it turns more of a yellowy colour when it's cooked. And then lots of curly kale, that's really good for something. An onion. Got lots of that to eat now. Oh, and orange lentils, because you need the proteins, and we're not really sure about all the proteins yet. You see, the fibromyalgia builds new pathways, and the body's created all these little pockets of things to stop stuff happening. They did that after the seizures, you see, because the body didn't want to experience the seizures again. And we didn't experience the seizures typically either, because of muscle memory and all the yoga teacher training and the yoga personal practice for 12 years. So the body just started flinging itself into positions. And then we were having to navigate, we had at least 6 people in here at one time, so we were having to navigate all their energies and help shift their energies too. I hope they're having an okay ride of it. Hopefully they'll get around to watching these videos, and some of them will help them out. Because when these memories get stimulated in the brain, one of them is detoxing, but another one is there's like cryptic clues in them. Like this picture you see from the back of our mum's painting. I don't really know what that was all about. We were looking for the picture to do it as a thumbnail. And then, of course, we started Googling it, and then the questions came up, and it's all about the questions, we know. So then we started reading it, and so then we had to do that. So I know that we've helped clear the Maoris grieving for their lost homeland, because that's what one of the sound healing people told us years ago when we were having one of our fits. We were all belted up then, though. People used to say we belted ourselves up with all the yoga props too much, but I don't think we did. I think we saved ourselves from a lot of brain damage, to be fair. Uncontrollable energy that the body couldn't handle, keeping the riverbanks, the bones, the ligaments in place. And we always knew they were just tools, but you see, again, that no one understood us because we couldn't communicate to them. And that's why, if people surrendered to their heart more and more, they'd be able to feel. And even the people that we thought had surrendered to their heart lots, and probably thought they surrendered to their hearts lots too, haven't. Otherwise, they'd still be with us in our lives right now. So after the ayahuasca journey, it was, I'm finally able to admit defeat, I am. I'm able to surrender to the present now. Surrender to the heart to the best of my ability until it starts opening up more, and it will open up when it's ready in good time, which is what it's been doing, because that was December the 15th, 2015. There's the 15 number, a lot's there, isn't there? Considering the 15 numbers come up. Oh, it's 15th. Is it 16th today? It's a rebirth day today. No more of the devil and the desires. Yeah, 16th of January. So 16th, the tower. I've got many stories about that, especially the one we wanted to escape out the psych ward and then climb up the tower to the full Leo full moon. Oh, we've created, the younger ones, bless them, have created such beautiful stories. And they were doing it last night again. And I, one of the older ones, one of the older conscious eyes, was saying that how we have to stop creating these stories because they're hurting us. because then we get disappointed and let down when they don't happen, and how these people that we still have such faith and hope in, that we thought loved us and that we thought we'd found our sense of community, we obviously haven't. And that's okay, but how we have to stop creating stories so we stop being disappointed. And then they pointed out, this is all while we're listening to the, what is this? It starts on February the 7th, so it starts on the first psych ward sound healing, group sound healing meditation online. See, we still managed to do it, and it was on a Friday as well, you see. And then we don't have the last one. We don't have all of them downloaded, but then that's the subconscious knowing best. The subconscious only does what it does. So when we can't download something or find something or do something, it's because we're not meant to. We're understanding that more and more. So in this playlist, it's got like the very first, so the series 1 and series 2, we did 2 to 6 weeks one. And this is the first series, 6 weeks. And it's got the 7th, this got the 5th week, which is on February the 7th first. Then it's got the first week. And then it's got the first week in meditation form rather than just the whole format recorded. So it's an edited format. And it's like an hour long rather than an hour and a half or something, or just under an hour and a half. And then it's got literally just the blue light transmission, I think, from the 3rd week. And then it goes back to the 7th because there's only the 4th. So we started on the 7th and we're about halfway, I don't know, I think we're about 30 minutes through the 7th. And then we had to kind of go out and go toilet rather than use our pee cup thing. Because we were meant to do this, I know now. And we had to ground ourselves in with Mother Gaia on the way in. And I think one of us started talking about the fun shadow dance, didn't we, in one of the tools. So I don't know what goes on in the mind. We cut that off a long time ago hence it being blind, deaf and dumb, because we couldn't cope with it. And we've been doing all this meditation and the self-awareness stuff for a long time. Started, as I said, when I overdosed at 18. And then we travelled, did our Earth grid footprint and our energetic human being footprint, which then changes its Earth grid footprint. So you've got more of this quantum theory, quantum string entanglement. We're not the same, are we now? Never really know when we shift, you see, but I'm getting more used to it now. We slow down. A lot of us had to pretend we were her. And we know we're the host body, but we're not the her of the conscious eye, the Neve Deborah Coleman. I don't know. I think we missed that one, didn't we? One of the ones on the Google that we read was about, I think we did, about the names, none of the names. Most of it was numbers. We're the numbers ones, I think. I don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about something, but we're not meant to be talking about that no more, hence the switch. But I can talk about what they started talking about before they then went on to what they were talking about. The shadow thing. We've got the Om, one of the sound healing Om big ones, not the Koshi little ones, one of the big ones. We got that from the place we get all our tuning forks from. In India, direct, no middleman, means they get more money and we get it cheaper. And so that was above us, and it got tough. And because we don't know what goes on in the mind, it's all in the body, you see, so it got a bit much in the body. But that's okay, we put our torch on the phone, did our usual thing that keeps us safe, triggers some other stuff at the same time, but it does something for us. And we will release this tool soon as well. It's the Facebook, just Google through the Facebook quickly. And then we tend to look at the numbers, we look at the people. That's it, we look at the people, but we've taken it differently now, because it's not about how many people like you or how many people follow you. It's about the numbers. And on our, I think it's gone down to like 477 and then 495 on our Shinto page on Facebook. But you see 95 equals 14 and 77 equals 14. It's just different perspectives of 14, isn't it? And both of them start with 4. So if you switch the numbers around a bit, that's why it's so good that we're backwards, because we see lots of different perspectives. It's 144, and 144 is an important number on the Fibonacci sequence. Couldn't tell you that neither. So the other ones that hold that. We're getting there slowly. We've got one of Jano 108's courses to do, because some of the younger ones, to soothe themselves, they started taking extra maths homework home at the age of 7 by choice. But we couldn't continue down the maths journey. We learned that at college, because we did maths and further maths, and then the further maths got too much, so we had to drop that to an AS further maths and do AS physics. Started getting a bit of theoretical, you see. Didn't quite get it because we switched again, and then we went to university and did secondary teaching with a maths degree, because that's what you meant to do. Get your foundation, get your education. You can't give up, by all means. You can't give in. So we managed to actually complete the first year, even though we knew we didn't want to do it. And we even managed to get a 2-1. It was a teaching degree, not a degree and then a PGCE. It's an actual teaching degree in Exeter University. And that's where we first came across the word clone in our terminology of it, because some of the people with money used to get nicknamed Sloanes, but we never could remember that word. And we always get the words mixed up. That's our processing language disorder. We'd call them clones, but basically they were clones. They all looked the same with their rugby shirts and their upturned collars. You can't stand up because we only got knickers on. Shh. I think you might have heard that. Hi. So this is like, God knows who we are now. I knew that it's coming somewhere that what we're doing is going to be really important for the younger generation. No, God, we're just so disconnected from everything that's going on out there anyway. Like, we had the seizures end of October on Scorpio new moon, the day after we shaved our head. We shaved our head. One perspective of that is you're stripping away your ego on a dark moon, and we were born on a dark moon on Friday the 15th. So this is all the information and the evidence of the influence of nature's cycles and rhythms and the effect they have on the human body being put into experiment. I suppose being put into experiment, but not conscious experiment, subconscious experiment. The conscious mind would have never agreed to all of this. But you see, there's lots of us that have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind in the subconscious mind. This is the best language we have for it at the moment. We will discover more language down the line, but we have to do it step by step, you see. Because everything has to kind of do its own thing at its own pace, so that then it all comes together in the body, all the different systems and all the different parts. You see, we live in too much of a world of the masculine energy. It's split itself into too many parts. We have to bridge the gap between the Eastern mind and the Western mind. It's not one or the other. It's bringing them both together and integrating it. And the younger generation, being called snowflakes, is such a compliment, you know. We're called snowflakes by the Native American Indians. Look, I think we actually got something like that on day. Interesting, on our heart. It's all in symbols again too. It's not what we thought it was when we pulled it out. We thought it was another top. Of course. So peeps, we all need to surrender to our hearts when it's ready, bit by bit. Not be scared of it. It is scary. Because the chitter-chatter of the mind will make you believe that. Not to scare you, but you're no different to us. Maybe not on such an extreme level, but that's where you could be perceived lucky. You get to choose or not how far you go. Consciously choose rather than subconsciously choose. Because we've surrendered to whatever's needed over and over. Not that we ever knew to what we were surrendering to, but we just knew we had to trust in these, what they call divine energies, what we like to call the subatomic energies, the collective co-creation between the individual subatomic energies of the subatomic flow of energies in the body and Mother Gaia's and the cosmic. Yeah. And why do we do this? And why have we allowed this to happen? And why have we surrendered? Because there's got to be a reason behind it all. Because that's why, the science and the maths, you ask questions. Because we don't want to feel any more physical pain. And the more we do what we do, the more the physical pain goes away. We do get some really intense scenarios like yesterday, but we still managed to show up for a 108-day meditative story time reading and our poems. And get dressed actually for it. Mind you, I think we're in half of it now still. And we cleaned our teeth last night. And we had the lorries, the trucks, we had the minerals for the body in the bath. And then an orange and red grapefruit juice, so that it's going from the external in and the internal out, because we know that our digestive system ain't the best, especially with its leaky gut and stuff. But that's what's got to happen, you see, because as we do this, we keep piercing all the balloons of the malfunctioning or bad adhesions of the intestines to create more leaks, so that then they can be patched up again. Because one perspective from the tarot is not to do anything till your cup's full. What if your cup's got lots of holes in it? It's emptying and filling up at the same time. That's what's happening to us, that is. Ace of Cups, that is. These were the cards that were up here. But they all kind of fell down yesterday. We're not sure where they fell down to. But we can't see them now, and this is the only one we can see. One was Millennium Thoth, I think. Another one, this is the Psychic Heart Oracle Tarot. You see, the crown chakra relates to the left and right vagus nerve, joining together, becoming in union, becoming to marriage. It's all in the words and the numbers, you see. All has meaning. You've got your individual interpretation, your authentic one, which is so mighty important. And then you have the collective. And we're some kind of channel for the conduit for the energies to be the connector and the bridge of different perspectives and thoughts and beliefs, and to share our unique, authentic, sun time, honest experience. We've gone from Mars to Sun, two different forms of action. Mars is more of the anger and the passion, and more of the denser physical reality action, considered masculine energy. And the Sun is the Leo, our rising. What's our Mars? Oh yeah, our Mars is in if you do it on the simple one, we've got 5 Virgo in house 2, which are all the really young ones. The young had the South 1, house 1, 2. They belong to the younger ages. So we got a lot in the younger ones. Whereas Leo, so we've just gone from the young ones. We could go the long way round, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Back to 1, because you see, in the complicated system, which is the one we're more familiar with, literally on the placidus, but also in our mind. Hi, somewhere else again now. Dearie me, at least it's all starting to come together more if it's happening this much quicker. Is our ascendant, our rising sign, and it was on the cusp, 29 degrees of house 12 and house 1. But in the simple system, it's on the cusp of house 1, house 2. So you could count in order all the way along, but you've got a long way to go. Or you could just go back a little bit. We're a pro at being backwards. So that's obviously what we've done and what we're doing. I still don't think we've told you about the fun tool this morning of the shadows. We've got a torch on to light things up, and we've got all the it's chipboard where there's lots of bits on it, and so it's all lots of cool patterns to look at, but mostly linear. But then we've got the chime above us, and it produced a beautiful shadow with a short torch. Have we switched again? No, it doesn't sound like we have, but that's good. I thought we'd switched again then. Must have been just a stim or something with the autism. But we've changed a hand that we're using without us consciously telling us to change the pattern. So that's interesting. We're becoming a very good observer and talker. But then if you notice when we talk, our hand doesn't move much because we've swapped what we're talking about. Okay. So the arm chimes above us, you can do the torch and you get all the different angles and you move the torch around. And of course, if you put it underneath, these really can be long cylinder tubes can go into short squat ones, or they can go into this beautiful little circle. We love that shadow thing, especially when you get like the three-dimension yantras, or, you know, webbed with the cotton. We don't know what this stuff's called, but we so want to do it. And it just looks like kind of chaos of this stuff going on. But when you put a shadow onto it, it produces a beautiful, what most people would know as mandala. But one of the more, what one might call proper ways of saying it is a yantra, which we learned off Jane 108, but wouldn't be able to tell you now if it hadn't been for one of his things we posted in the portal group of Lee Harris Energy's private portal group. And then we've had a woman, this older lady, who 50 years ago, before any of this stuff was known, designed her own quilt with this beautiful sacred geometry kind of yantra pattern. And this other person who's just done a picture of a yantra, and she called it a yantra rather than a mandala, like a lot of people call it. And then it was interesting because before it, we've got a really sore left wrist going on now. Here, which is the bottom of our left hemisphere. But we say it's the bottom of our left hemisphere because it's the left hand, but it's not, because the pain's going up here in the bottom of the right hemisphere. And that's the switching in the body, not the switching of the altars. Oh God, at least we're getting more comfortable about talking about all of this. So now we're giving ourselves a bit of ear reflex, and that's just the body naturally doing it. Hence why I never stop anyone from stimming, whether it's making sounds or tapping their foot or doing anything, because they're clearing the energy in their body. Because they're the gifted ones. I mean, you don't allow them to do it, they can't clear the energy in their body. But they're being a channel to clear whatever energy needs clearing from you as well. And this is why they're a gift. So when we were walking into the bath earlier, we did our essential oils into our oil burner. And we were looking at the pattern the shapes of the oil was making in the water, and it looked like a fetus. And then 5-6 hours later, someone posted in the portal their creations of the day, which was oil. And we were thinking about the oil painting. I mean, we don't mean that at all when we say that. We mean that type thing, you know, where you get the marble colours or the oils and you put them in water and then you put paper on it. Anyway, she did one of them, and we were thinking of that and thinking of them. So this is the collective frequencies that come in, that different people get their own understanding from it. And someone's individual and very individual, and others collective. And ours seems to, I don't know, and some of it's a bit of both, but ours seems to be like a bit of both. But we're choosing to show the journey of involution and do it the Gandhi quantum ripple effect, like the younger ones like to call it. Be the change you want to see in the world. Because then once we know what's our stuff and what's other stuff, and what makes us angry and what makes us love and what makes us react, so we can learn that our triggers are guide and learn to heal ourselves from that, then we don't have to harbour all those energies inside us. Then we don't have to blame anyone else, or then we don't have to get stuck in the in-between of going, well, we can't blame anyone else because we know that's not fair, but we don't know what's going on us. And then it's just like, whoa, dissonance, chaos. And then we just cut off from ourselves more and more. Yeah, okay, so we're going to end it on we're not going to end it on number 7 again. We're going to end it on the first song of the first week, which is after the date of the 7th from that sound healing meditation. So we're halfway through that. So we'll go back out there in a minute and we'll finish that off. And then we'll do the first song, because the other first song is the Gaia home one. And that means a lot to us for some reason. Probably one of our many rebirth, birth thingies that's gone on. I do look forward to when it kind of comes to a massive shift or connection or something, whatever the language is, because it's very exhausting. But at least we're not resisting it anymore, and we're understanding it more. But we couldn't, you know, we were so young before. I mean, it's like we're clearing what was that photo? We're clearing past generational trauma from different cultures. We're clearing trauma from the Catholic Church of the worstest possible kind. We're clearing trauma from our own physical life. We're clearing trauma from other people that we've been entangled with. And we've done so much of the cutting of threads of people as well. There's so much conscious intention that we've done. And there has been the pained, hurt thoughts that come up, because they do. But as soon as they do, and we're able to, we bring our awareness to the fact that that's the toxins and the memories and our perception leaving the body, and that we send them love and energy for their healing journey and what's ever going on for them, and that we accept we may or may not ever see them again, and whatever's okay, because we know what our purpose is in life now, and we know that we're clearing the pain in the body, and we know that we're going to live from our heart and live from our heart in each moment for everyone's highest good, ours, others, and most importantly, Mother Gaia's, because she's honours us with so much. So yeah, it's the Gaia Home song or something. So then we'll do that. And I know a few days ago they had the Earth book out, which we do on our Shinto page from the Palladians. So we'll read another chapter of that, because the chapter that's next on that is Earth's Home. But I think that comes after the Vortex, the Future Science book. I'm not sure what that chapter is. One of us might have learnt, I don't know, but if we have, we haven't got it now to be able to tell you. It is over there, but we're not going to get it because we've only got knickers on. So yeah, we'll finish that off, and then we'll come back in here, probably read one of the first poems, eat some food, the poem, the daily poem morning thing, eat some food, and then read that chapter of the book, because that's what we're meant to do, those 2 chapters. I don't know if they'll come straight away or not. There's some other stuff I think we'd like to do, but that could be the stuff we're not meant to do. That's what we think we're meant to do, but leads us into the other stuff. So this was bought a little while back. And it's the first poem in this that we're going to read. But we're going to start at the back and read about the author first. We'll do back first and then the front, and then we'll do the front and the back, and then we'll do the back and the front. Rah-de-rah. And it's the ship coming in from the Prophet. I think we've read, we've got mega pain going on down here now. Burning. That was a sharp one with a dull ache. That was a dull ache with some sharp pain, and this is like a burning. But yeah, we come across this when we were a child. I think our father had it. And I'm not sure, I think the author's birthday is the same day as our father's birthday. And the reason we know that is from one of the Deborah Silverman, who does the new style horoscope of the energies, just telling you where the planets are and how those energies affect you, not relating it to the individual horoscope of the person, because that becomes limiting. Oh, it's in my horoscope. Oh, I'm this, that means that. I can't use it as a scapegoat. Oh, it's in my genes. That means scapegoat. It's no, we all have a choice, guys. Yeah, so the ship's coming in, led to the thing that we found in the back of our mum's picture. This would make a good film. Talking of films, because all this happened in 2015, I know this was going to come out earlier, we're really not very good with this whole understanding about the impact the masks have, because the coronavirus started when we were in the psych ward, and I think we've got on about that in one of the other videos somewhere. And we do tend to always forget about bringing something. We do remember sometimes, and when we remember, we're holding up our bottom lower stomach now, so there's a reason there to hold all the prolapses and stuff. When we do remember, we bring one of the small scarves that we just put over our face that we used to use at the Burning Man desert. But when we don't, luckily we've normally got some kind of scarf around our neck that we can kind of use as well, and so we put that on. But we'll start walking it and be like, oh god, we forgot to do that, and we'll never come back to get it, because to even walk to the shop is agony on our knees, agony on our anxiety, and all kinds of things. But we always normally challenge ourselves at least once a month if we can, because it's healthy too for so many reasons. And the woman in there's lovely. There's a couple in there that's lovely. One of them, we needed to hug at one time, and we never really touch people, and we normally scare people. Obviously these people have good hearts, and we started having an episode, and she allowed us to hug us, and this was after the psych ward, so there was all still that stuff going on. but I don't think the laws had come into play quite so much. Because when we go out there, we become a lot younger as well. And we're always terrified of seeing people that we've known, or having to interact with people that we've known and know that it will cause us too much stress. And so we're always planning what we can say to whatever. But so yeah, we watched a film last night because which we haven't. Some of the young ones used to watch a lot of series and other things, and we learn a lot from them as well. The young ones do. And we didn't watch it. We're actually not watching heaps of our tarot stuff anymore. We look at the titles. So we look at the title, see if the title resonates to us or not. If it really does, and the younger ones want to, and we're in whatever, then we'll watch it. If not, let's go, yeah, we'll take some of that energy, please. Yeah, we're on that next bit. And that's it now. So it's fab. And it's only when some really good series or something comes up, and we've only got Amazon now, we don't have Netflix because we're working on our budget and, you know, minimizing stuff down. God, this is so hard. I'm talking about the film. And that's it. So we decided there's a film called Birdsong. And it was all about the birds yesterday in the songs. So, of course, the title drew us in. Although it didn't. It took us a few attempts to watch it because it was a film about darkness and fear. Talk about the fear-mongering of the media. But luckily, it did have a happy ending. Motorcycle bike to a couple, young love. Oh, it was fit. She was beautiful too. Along the cliffs, big cliffs next to the sea. We've seen some beautiful places, I tell you. So yeah, it did have a good ending, which was good. And yeah, so it was about the masks and about the future and cities and people that were immune and people that weren't, and you know, the Q camp, the quarantine camp, which was really the death camp, and stuff. As I say that, I'm getting a massive, gentle, half kind of diagonal hemisphere release, which is making the top of my right ear heat up, not burn on a horrible burny sensation like down there. This is referred fascia pain now that we're talking through. We're talking through the effects of all of this stuff on the body and how it's not in the mind, it's just all it is, all of it. And for people that say it's just in the mind, like our hypnotherapist saying we've got false memory syndrome, which we haven't at all. It's just their ego's getting in the way and them, their little friend's denial, not allowing them to go deeper. And of course, when you see someone that's been your client or then someone that's in a psych ward or someone that goes vulnerable, the ego doesn't really allow you to think you've got something to learn from them. And especially from people that say they saw you when they didn't really see you, because if they did see you, they would see the beautiful woman who's traveled the world on her own, who converted and built her own van, who's been a humanitarian aid worker deployed out to the Philippines when Typhoon Haiyan struck, who cycled John O'Groats to Land's End with a healing broken collarbone. But you see, we're only able to see what we're able to see in that moment that keeps us comfortable in our body. And I say us, and I mean others, because we've always challenged ourselves because we're backwards. But we have to follow the rules that we're applying onto the other to ourselves to make it fair. But probably also because there are alters in us like that the I that's always challenged ourselves and pushed ourselves isn't completely aware about, because it's on the completely opposite end of the spectrums and the belief systems, and that connection is not there yet. And that's going into the separation of the left vagus nerve and the right vagus nerve, the rest and digest and the fight and flight, because you're at two complete opposite ends of the spectrums. You can never really comprehend one person that's got a completely opposing belief system to you unless it's inside your own same fucking body. Sorry, language. And believe me, it causes a lot of confusion to start with. Luckily, we're fast learners. There's just a lot of us to get through. Yeah, it's been about 4.3 years, hasn't it? Since the seizures. That's just one of the journeys. It's been 26 years since the first thought of suicide, and same will take pills. It's been 22 years since we actually took pills and attempted suicide. Depends which one you look at. It's 12 years since we started yoga. It's 9 years since we started sound healing. We've then done our nerve touch Thai massage, reflexology, aromatherapy, Swedish massage courses. The nerve touch Thai massage we got qualified in, but that was in Chiang Mai, so that was one of, like, you know, I don't know, a month course or half month course or something. I need to look up that tooth and what that's related to. And we probably need to start sucking on this one and creating space over here, because we're sucking that, but it's already coming out. So we need to push that one up, but we push into the two teeth that are missing there. So we need to suck that area there. I think we need to suck that area there while we push in the middle to stop the middle coming down. And then we need to push that one up while we suck, so that our tongue's not in front of the tooth, but it's on the tooth, holding it in place, because the teeth are the midline of the body. So when it's in front of the tooth, the tongue, because the tongue's the thing that connects the circuits and the meridians in the body, and when you put your tongue on each tooth, you're connecting a certain circuit in the body. The rainbow electromagnetic field, the red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, the tooth that relates to a certain set of organs in the body. So if you have it behind the tooth, you're on the back of the body. If you have it in front of the tooth, you're in front of the body. If you have it on the tooth, you're in the midline. And we're trying to find the midline of the axes that way, and that way. I don't know. I think I'm not sure on all the different axes. Yeah, I think it's like that. I don't know what we're talking about again. So I'm going to read the poem that we came here to do, which was just a little bit of the journey that we're meant to talk through on this one. 52 minutes 12. The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran, with illustrations by the author. A book of poetic essays written in English, Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet is full of religious inspirations. With the 12 illustrations drawn by the author himself, the book took more than 11 years to be formulated and perfected, and is Gibran's best-known work. It represents the height of his literary career, as he came to be noted as the Bard of Washington Street. Captivating and vivified with feeling, The Prophet has been translated into 40 languages throughout the world and is considered the most widely read book of the 20th century. Its first edition of 1,300 copies sold out within a month. When we're reading that again, what's coming to us is all the stories that we've created again of all the different people we know and their different professions and their different careers and what they're all doing out there to co-collaborate, to take accountability and responsibility for their parts in their journey and the entanglement of their part in our journey, so that together we can produce something so awe-inspiring, so heart-touching, because it's heart-touching stuff that really hits people and facilitates change, of something that contains a lot of darkness, but a lot of beauty out of that darkness, to inspire the world and really start this bigger collective consciousness dream going. Because I know that, I don't know, I feel deep in my bones. Lee Harris talks about there's 3 main archetypal energies when one's stepping out and creating their own business or going self-employed and living their true authentic state. And we've always said that we're way too smart to have our own business or become self-employed because of all the government hurdles and the rest of it. And we can't cope with the stress, and there's no reason for us to cope with that stress. So each of us alters, the majority anyway, have, because when I look at a lot of other people's alters, and who am I to say, but from an outsider's objective interpretation or perception, some of them are very drastic in image. They create these beautiful places in their imagination and the stories inside their head. And they're all very different. And ours are all very different in a lot of ways, but there's this core that's the same. And it's very authentic and it's very true. And it's a beautiful core that puts other people first and just wants the best out of everyone and sees the best in everyone. And doesn't like conflict for many other reasons. Yeah, so they create all these beautiful stories of what's kind of going to happen and come together. Um, they always then relate back to a mum and the shamanism and the Native American Indian group she was in down here. There's one surface guy whose dad, I think, is one of the people that she writes about in a diary that we wanted to connect with, but that's never happened yet, and I couldn't tell you who that all is. Might be Peace Eagle. And that's the Indian Native American Indian sings, which is very shamanic. And then there's another shamanic people up and I think he's down South Cornwall, and she used to go down South Cornwall. But then there's someone else that we know vaguely, not very well, from North Cornwall. That's a shaman who gave us the article about that shaman woman that we read about. Took 3 attempts, but we read about. And one of the books that helped her was The Flock, the book that we've been reading. It's got 2 in 1, so we finished the first one. And then it makes me question the energies you see then, and everyone's tapping in. And it's something we said in one of the other videos about I'm not sure if it's something we said or something we said from a book about the frequencies, and it might be something we've read and not said in the videos. I don't know. I really can't keep track. Hence why we do all this. So different people extract bits of information out from the collective Mother Earth's rainbow electromagnetic field, the trauma of Mother Earth, the trauma of the family lineage, the trauma of the cultures. And what they pull out of it is the bit that resonates deeply within them of the frequencies. Hence our gift with the DID and the autism and blah, 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 because it's lots of rare labels and disorders, but it's all of them together, which makes us really rare. We really are the anomaly of the anomalies. And we feel we're some kind of a connector. So we feel that from like the understanding of sound and frequencies is that these different people in the earth grid and the footprint that's got the quantum string entanglement will have their own journeys and their own experiences. And it's about bringing them all together, which relates into our concept of creating a library of books, a library of experiences. And then there's all kinds of things. We want to do like a website where we have live questionnaires and surveys going on. I mean, this is our statistics and operational research, which we started at degree level, but couldn't do because it had this massive formula that went right across the part of the blackboard and you had to remember it. It's like, no, we derive it and then gain understanding of it. And that's how we remember it, because our memory don't work like everyone else's. So, of course, we only lasted a term in that. And we couldn't do the computer programming, the zeros and the one, the binary, because it's too simple. But it wouldn't surprise me if we go back into that again, because we're touching all the things that we've touched on when we were younger. We've got all the Egyptian symbology in our GCSE art folders and stuff. And yeah, we're doing the Black Diaries of Jung's records of his journey to his subconscious mind. But we're doing it in the modern day version and from a female perspective, a female part of the whole rather than the male part of the part. But I'm guessing that Jung, even though he was an exterior male body, he had a lot of more feminine energy. He probably had quite a balance of it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was more dominant in the feminine energies. Whereas depends which altar you're talking to. For us, some are more dominant in the male, some are more dominant in the female. So we've got this real fractal geometry, complex spiral going on between all of us. Hence why we're the connector. Not many people get to experience both sides of mental health. It's always one side or the other. Yeah. So yeah, we will get all these stories out. We might not write it straight away. We'll probably dictate it first on the Word microphone thing. Then we'll edit it with typing on the Word. And then it wouldn't surprise me if we did write it, but put it in a format of artistic quality. But our first thing that we do will be a picture book, which we've already done and laminated, but it's not a book yet. It's just in lots of little pieces that we keep changing the order of. And that's all of the fascia, the connective tissue, fascia trains, electromagnetic fields, energy. That's from like Pinterest. That was even before the seizures. That was like the start to, that was like summer 2015. Or no, it could have been summer 2016 rather than the end of 2016. But I think the kiddies will be producing their own books first, creative ones, by the sounds and looks of it, with the little snippets that I'm seeing and feeling and experiencing so far. But we have to wait for the physical body to be okay to do it all, and it's by no means there yet. But it will get there. That's one of the dares. So, and it'll be this hump here that's going on, which has saved us so many reasons. I can feel sensations going on up there now. Did we read all the back? Yes. That's good. We actually remembered reading it all. So then we go to the front, because we read the back of the book, and the front of the book's contents, to keep within the spectrum. Contents. The coming of the ship. I thought it was the ship coming in. No, I think that's the ship coming in. Oh, it doesn't matter, but love, marriage, children, giving, eating and drinking, work, joy and sorrow, houses, clothes, buying and selling, crime and punishment, laws, freedom, reason and passion. And there is one big reason why we're doing this, which we're not allowed to share yet, not comfortable to share yet, whatever the reason, but the passion's there. I so hope it's doing what it's meant to be doing. But if not, we'll be okay with that, because there's many other reasons that we're doing what we're doing as well, because we're multi-layered and multifaceted. Pain, self-knowledge, teaching, friendship, talking, time, good and evil, prayer, pleasure, beauty, religion, death, farewell, about the author. About the author. Born on January the 6th, 1883. That adds up to 16. No, I think we might have added up 20. 8 plus 8, 16. 3 plus 1 is 4, which is 20. So we had to go for 2020 last year. It was a turning point of the North and South Pole. But it can't just happen like that. It's got to happen gradually. We still haven't looked at the plug hole for water thingy. Probably won't get around to doing that. We've been wanting to do that for years. Like years. If anyone's watching this and they are in the Southern Hemisphere and in the Northern Hemisphere, can you comment and tell us, please? Born on January the 6th, 1883, in the village of Bishari, Lebanon. Oh, we lived in Cairns, North Australia. We lived opposite a Lebanese shop kind of that sold food. I think we may have worked in it for a little while too. That's a bit unclear. Kahlil Gibran was 12 when he migrated to America along with his family in 1895 due to poverty. And we worked in a Turkish cafe too, you see. That's where you got nod means yes. No. They weight numbers differently too. That's why we like the numbers, because it's not just the numbers in English that you mirror. You see 9 and 11 are a mirror of each other if you look at Roman numerals. There you go. A Lebanese American artist, poet, and writer, young Kahlil mastered the English language with ease and also had a taste for the artistic. He studied in Paris and then came back to New York. See, that's why we tapped into this one, because we want to master the English language, which is proving very challenging. Which then leads us about to Lee Harris energy. Lee Harris energy says there's 3 archetypal energies, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get them all. One of them is the number 22, the number of intuition, which is also the master builder number. So there's the builder that comes after the architect maybe. And then there's the visionary. So he says that normally which probably is very true, because normally it's just an average to the majority of people. The doctor always used to say to us, well, what's normal? And we tried to tell him it's the average, and we're not the average. We didn't get that. We probably didn't say it so clearly. But we did always take notes and lists, and then we'd go back to him next time with what we didn't understand from previous and what we thought that wasn't right and clarify it. But I think he just saw it more of an intellectual game because we thought it was all just in our head. Oh, lovely man, because we were actually able to communicate with him, but not the best at his job, we have to say. You think he lost his passion and got a bit bored of it. Well, we think that must be, because any doctor that sits there and Googles something in front of you, when all other doctors say not to Google stuff at home, it's a bit contradictory, isn't it? It's not really very professional. But then you see, we do that to people. Our energies takes people out of that professional zone and brings them more into the heart. And lots of people aren't generally comfortable with that. We got in books and stuff too, like we always do with all these people. We buy them books and give them to them. I think we hope that they'll read those books and then the books about them understand us more, but it never seems to work. Or maybe it is working, it just takes years to work. Yes, but I think we've got the visionary, the architecture, or the architect, and the builder, and so much more all in us, you see. So we can do this all on our own. And we've tried to collaborate with people, but they're not receptive. They just, because they don't understand us. And that's okay, because we can do this on our own. And so we will. And where do we get all this energy and drive from? The pain and the darkness and the fear. And we've learned to convert it. No, we're learning to convert it still. I think that's it. I hope we're becoming a bit more better and clear with our expressing ourselves. I feel we are. Kahlil Gibran, from pretty early in his life, started writing in Arabic, but later started to write in English too. Gibran has about 25 books to his credit. Gibran's famous trilogy comprises The Prophet, The Garden of the Prophet, and The Death of the Prophet. Oh, it looks like we'll be getting them down the line, but we're not allowed to rush at these things no more. We've got to get to a certain stage first here. But we got that gate thing that we were talking about out the garden. It's lost one of the sides, but we've got it inside summer house with us now, drying. I wonder what's going to happen with that then. Probably go in some kind of altar thing first. That's what we tend to do. There we go. No little nice gentle click. The clicks and the cracks, you see, they don't cause us pain like the other stuff. They can range from real big, deep depth clicks and cracks into right tiny ones. And best way we can describe it for the tiny ones and the spectrum of the tiny ones is like Ziplocker bags, depending how big the teeth are. If the teeth are bigger, it makes bigger, quicker noises, sounds, and then it gets really small and it's kind of tiny little ones. And that's the fascia and the connective tissue in the body. You do the different ones releasing all the pressure and all those like gases. Because when your bag clicks, it's not really bones clicking, it's just the pockets of gas. We learned a lot from all our different therapists that we've gone to, you see. That one's the chiropractor, I think. Mind you, it's probably, we normally have to hear things at least 3 times from 3 different people. Now, maybe it is the power of 3 by 3. Maybe we have to read it 3 times as well, so that we're seeing it 3 times and then experience it 3 times. And that 3 by 3 put together then makes the picture for us. That feels right, even though I don't really know what we're talking about. But you see, we'll know more what I'm talking about when we watch it back. That's what channeling's like. You see, a lot of people channel and they don't remember none of it. And then they say it's from outside of them and it's them, but it's not. It's from inside of them, and they should take credit for it. They should. Because it's their unique expression and what they're drawn to, and it's beautiful. But society doesn't allow certain people for certain things, does they? Because then they put you in psych ward if you take credit for that. Oh, we're talking about credit now. We just read credit, didn't we, on this thingy? That was a few lines back, mind you. Getting something bad night sweats, I tell you, too. But we had the stuff that goes in the lorries and the trucks too, the supplements and the vitamins. And we had the stuff that the trucks drive on, the roads. The roads are the diatomaceous earth, the trucks are the minerals, and the stuff that goes in the trucks to go to the shops which are the parts of the body, are the different supplements. Gibran's famous trilogy comprises The Prophet, The Garden of the Prophet, and The Death of the Prophet. The Prophet deals with man's relation with fellow man. The Garden of the Prophet explores the relationship between man and nature, while the last delves into man's relationship with God. We're not religious at all, and that word used to trigger us lots, but it doesn't no more, because we know that that just means the subatomic energy, and it's different source energy, it's different words for everyone. The three thus teach man the mastery of life. Oh, we got to get through Don Miguel books first, some self-mastery, and then other things. He is chiefly known for his 1923 book, The Prophet, which is estimated to have sold more than 20 million copies in English alone. Widely acclaimed as one of the most spiritual books ever written. See, that's why we're brought to it when we're younger, to bring us to us now, and then hopefully it'll reach lots of people, you'll see. Because the more people we can reach, the more people we can get to surrender to their heart, and then the more people will be conduits for Mother Gaia and the cosmic energies, and be able to take credit for living their own unique expression of whatever it is that just flows through them in the moment, and not having to always think about it or control it or be professional or be this or that. Because let's face it, that ain't work, does it? Or we wouldn't be in the mess we're in now. Collectively, in the world, globally, I mean. Widely acclaimed as one of the most spiritual books ever written, Gibran is considered to be the third most widely read poet in history, after Shakespeare and Lao Tzu. The Prophet, comprising these 26 poetic... The ball's gone. That's okay. That one likes balls. Balls under the armpits, balls in the mouth, balls in the hands. Oh, that's what we got to do. We got to do balls in the hands with Adho Mukha Savasana. That's dog head down, by the way. Yes, because our wrists are being fucked, aren't they? Yeah. And we've only got one wrist thing. Well, that's cool. We can put the left wrist on because the left's weakest and the most important. So put the left wristband on, which we can't do with the thumb brace. And then we'll put the ball in the hand to get the suction pads working. And then we'll just put that thumb one on the other one to keep the thumb thing stable. Yeah, that makes sense. Because if we can sort out the strength and the muscles in the hands, that will sort out the upper thoracics, what's going on up there. And then the rest of the alignment can take place physically. Oh, thank you, my lovelies. Great bit of information to come there for us personally, rather than just bombarding everyone with other stuff and our opinions and experience. They're not opinions, though. They're opinions from factual experiences. But maybe that is an opinion. I think our language needs to get a lot more clear with their words and what things mean. That's okay. That's on our list too, of many lists. The Prophet, comprising these 26 poetic essays and adorned with his paintings, talks about the philosophy of Gibran, also termed as Gibranism. The Prophet, who has lived in a foreign city for 12 years, is about to board a ship that will take him home. He is stopped by a group of people, whom he teaches the mysteries of life. Shiver me tingles. Shiver me timbers, isn't that a pirate phrase? And then people always go that they get tingles and they feel goosebumps. Again, it's all this ship stuff coming in. And then we got that because on one of the tarot readers the other day, it was the big, deep sea diving and those big diving kit masks on and a big weight holding him down, but the weight was floating up in the sea rather than sinking on the ground. And that reminds us of the guy that founded the charity that we went to the Philippines with, because he collects all that stuff and he loves it all. He's a deep sea diver. We did our deep sea diving 30 meters. We shouldn't have been diving at all from their beliefs, because we kind of lied. Well, we didn't lie. We felt like we lied, but we didn't, because it was one altar doing it and another altar doing another one. But we did our 30-meter dive and our night dive. He told us to be slow, and we were slow for us, but we still did it quickest than anyone else. That was the underwater night navigation dive. And we did our deep sea diving so that we could do it here, you see. We've never done it here, though. But we couldn't, probably, because it would have been unsafe for us to do it here, because it's cold water here, you see, and the cold water would make the body cramp up more, and then we wouldn't have controlled the breath, which is bloody hard to control in the first place. What with the DID and the EDS and all this stuff going on. Because DID ain't just in the brain, guys. Different alters have different physical ailments and different eye colours they can have and all kinds of things.
Nice time.
Oh, Mars, the Sun, now Venus. Surrender to your heart, to the language of love, to relationships, because the universe is based on relationships. Whether it's maths, science, arts, humans, nature, whatever. The prophet, who has lived in a foreign city for 12 years, is about to board a ship that will take him home. He is stopped by a group of people whom he teaches the mysteries of life. Kahlil Gibran took more than 11 years to formulate and perfect this book. The prophet represents the height of Gibran's literary career, as he came to be noted as the Bard of Washington Street. His other great works include The Secret of the Heart, Tears and Laughter, Jesus, The Son of Man, The Earth Gods, Sand and Poem, and The Forerunners. He passed away in 1931, when he was only 48. Financial discipline. Discipline, not dish. Sorry. He passed, don't apologise. No, we're not made to apologise, are we? No. You're just giving constructive criticism, constructive feedback. Yeah. Okay. Discipline. Well done. Yay! Shh. He passed away in 1931 when he was only 48 due to liver ailment, and his body was shipped back and cremated in Lebanon.
So we're kind of like in half of Uttanasana, camel pose, with our right leg, but then so it's Supta Baddha Konasana, half angle pose. So like our left knee is going out, the tops of our toes are down on the back foot, and we're on our right knee, which we wouldn't be able to do on our left knee. I'm surprised we can do it on our right knee at the moment, to be fair, but then it's always different ones that hold different pain. So yeah, we made a connection there. We really wanted to talk, but we're attempting to gain control of all of this. Not control in the conventional sense, but a control where we choose how far to let it go or not, rather than it confusing us. So it ended up into the hacker thing, which is obviously what we were meant to do. We've met some very beautiful people that have shared very beautiful things with us that have been able to get us to this point now. Thank you. Almustafa, the chosen and the beloved, who was adorned unto his own day, had waited 12 years in the city of Orphalese for his ship that was to return and bear him back to the isle of his birth. And in the 12th year, on the 7th day of Lulul, the month of reaping, he climbed the hill without the city walls and looked seaward, and he beheld his ship coming with the mist.
Then the gates of his heart were flung open, and his joy flew far over the sea. And he closed his eyes and prayed in the silences of his soul. But as he descended the hill, a sadness came upon him, and he thought in his heart, How shall I go in peace and without sorrow? Nay, not without a wound in the spirit shall I leave this city. Long were the days of pain I have spent within its walls, and long were the nights of aloneness. And who can depart from his pain and his aloneness without regret? Too many fragments of the spirit have I scattered in these streets, and too many are the children of my longing that walk naked among these hills. And I cannot withdraw from them without a burden and an ache. It is not a garment I cast off this day, but a skin that I tear with my own hands. Nor is it a thought I leave behind me, but a heart made sweet with hunger and with thirst. Yet I cannot tarry longer. The sea that calls all things unto her calls me, and I must embark. For to stay, though the hours burn in the night, is to freeze and crystallize and be bound in a mould. Fain would I take with me all that is here, but how shall I? A voice cannot carry the tongue and the lips that gave it wings. Alone must it seek the ether. And alone and without his nest shall the eagle fly across the sun. Now, when he reached the foot of the hill, he turned again towards the sea, and he saw his ship approaching the harbour, and upon her prow the mariners, the men of his own land. And his soul cried out to them, and he said, Sons of my ancient mother, you riders of the tides, how often have you sailed in my dreams, and how you come in my awakening, which is my deeper dream. Ready am I to go, and my eagerness with sails full set awaits the wind. Only another breath will I breathe in this still air, only another loving look cast backward. And then I shall stand among you, a seafarer among seafarers. And you, vast sea, sleepless mother, who alone are peace and freedom to the river and the stream, Only another winding will this stream make. Only another murmur in this glade. And then I shall come to you, a boundless drop to a boundless ocean. And as he walked, he saw from afar men and women leaving their fields and their vineyards and hastening towards the city gates. And he heard their voices calling his name and shouting from field to field, telling one another of the coming of his ship. And he said to himself, shall the day of parting be the day of gathering? And shall it be said that my eve was in truth my dawn? And and what shall I give unto him who has left his plough in mid-furrow, or to him who has stopped the wheel of his winepress? Shall my heart become a tree, heavy laden with fruit that I may gather and give unto them? And shall my desires flow like a fountain, that I may fill their cups? Am I a harp, that the hand of the mighty may touch me, or a flute, that his breath may pass through me? Am I a harp, that the hand of the mighty may touch me, or a flute, that his breath may pass through me? A seeker of silences am I, and what treasure have I found in silences, that I may dispense with confidence? If this is my day of harvest, in what fields have I sowed the seed, and in what unremembered seasons? If this, indeed, be the hour in which I lift up my lantern, it is not my flame that shall burn therein. Empty and dark shall I raise my lantern, and the guardian of the night shall fill it with oil, and he shall light it also. These things he said in words, but much in his heart remained unsaid, for he himself could not speak his deeper secret. And when he entered into the city, all the people came to meet him, and they were crying out to him as with one voice. And the elders of the city stood forth and said, go not yet away from us. A noontide have you been in our twilight, and your youth has given us dreams to dream. No stranger are you among us, nor a guest, but our son and our dearly beloved. Suffer not yet our eyes to hunger for your face. And the priests and the priestesses said unto him, let not the waves of the sea separate us now, and the years you have spent in our midst become a memory. You have walked among us a spirit, and your shadow has been a light upon our faces. Much have we loved you, but speechless was our love, and with veils has it been veiled. Much have we loved you, but speechless was our love, and with veils has it been veiled. Yet now it cries aloud unto you, and would stand revealed before you. And ever has it been that love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation. And others came also and entreated him, but he answered them not. And others came also and entreated him, but he answered them not. He only bent his head, and those who stood near saw his tears falling upon his breast. And he and the people proceeded towards the great square before the temple. And there came out of the sanctuary a woman whose name was Almitra, and she was a seeress. And he looked upon her with exceeding tenderness, for it was she who had first sought and believed in him when he had been but a day in their city. And she hailed him, saying, Prophet of God, in quest of the uttermost, long have you searched the distances for your ship. And now your ship has come, and you must needs go. Deep is your longing for the land of your memories and the dwelling place of your greater desires, and our love would not bind you, nor our needs hold you. Yet this we ask ere you leave us, that you speak to us and give us of your truth. And we will give it unto our children, and they unto their children, and it shall not perish. In your aloneness you have watched. With our days and in your wakefulness, you have listened to the weeping and the laughter of our sleep. Now, therefore, disclose us to ourselves, and tell us all that has been shown you of that which is between. Now, therefore, disclose us to ourselves, and tell us all that has been shown you of that which is between birth and death. And he answered, People of Orphalese, of which I can speak. People of Orphalese, of what can I speak, save of that which is even now moving within your souls? Namaste.